They're already inside. You walk in, coffee in hand, and your SCADA screen shows. Everything normal. But deep inside your network, something is already there. A hacker has been living in your systems for over a year. This is Volt Typhoon. This isn't a movie. It's the new reality of critical infrastructure. We're talking about the energy grid, water supplies, transportation, the stuff that keeps a nation alive. And a Chinese state-sponsored group, attributed to the Ministry of State Security, has been inside these networks since at least 2021. They aren't here to steal credit cards. They're here to map our systems, learn our weaknesses, and wait. For what? No one knows for sure, but the stakes could not be higher. Across the US, including energy, water, and transportation. The first sign is nothing. A single PowerShell command executed at 3:14 a.m. is a legitimate tool every Windows machine has. But it's being used to query Active Directory, find admin accounts, and move laterally. This is living off the land. No malware signatures, no suspicious files. Just a ghost using the system's own hands. And once they're in, they establish persistence scheduled tasks service. Modifications, so even if the system reboots, they're still there. In one known incident, Volt Typhoon used a legitimate remote monitoring tool from compromised IT vendor to maintain access for over 450 days. That's a year and 3 months of undetected presence. Picture this, a chat room where initial access brokers sell credentials. For a US energy company, the price, a few $1,000s. But Volt Typhoon doesn't buy access. They earn it. Once they have a foothold in IT, they pivot to OT, the control systems that run turbines, valves, and pumps. And because OT networks are often flat and poorly segmented, the journey from an HR computer to a programmable logic controller is terrifyingly short. In 2023, a Volt Typhoon breach of a US energy company was traced back to a single compromised VPN credential used by an IT contractor. In 2023, a US water utility discovered Volt Typhoon had been inside their systems for months. They had accessed the same SCADA screens that operators used to control water pressure and chemical dosing. No disruption yet, but the fear, what if they had opened a valve? This isn't just data theft. There's potential for kinetic impact, power outage, a contaminated water supply, a train collision. The operators on site had no idea their systems were compromised. That's the real danger, invisibility. In another case, Volt Typhoon compromised a municipal water district serving over 100,000 people, accessing systems that control chlorine levels. The utility only discovered the breach when a routine security audit revealed unauthorized connections to a Chinese IP address. Volt Typhoon is not a lone hacker. It is a weapon of the Chinese state. The FBI, CISA, and NSA have all attributed this group to the Ministry of State Security. They're not just stealing data. They're learning how to disrupt, degrade, or destroy critical infrastructure. And they're not alone. Other APTs like APT-10, Sandworm, and Lazarus are doing the same. In fact, the US Department of Justice recently indicted members of a Chinese grid operator. The grid is a battlefield, and we're only just waking up. How do we fight a ghost? First, network segmentation. Air-gap OT from IT where possible. Second, endpoint detection with behavior analytics. Look for anomalous use of PowerShell, not just signatures. Third, threat hunting. Fourth, multi-factor authentication everywhere, especially for remote access. And fifth, offline backups tested regularly. Because if they do strike, you'll need to rebuild from scratch. For instrument technicians and control engineers, this is your new reality. Learning network security, OT protocols like Modbus and DNP3, and threat hunting can double your value. Salaries for OT cybersecurity roles range from $100,000 to $180,000. The demand is exploding, and the skills you already have understanding control systems are the hardest to find. The US government has also stepped in, with CISA releasing guidance and funding for critical infrastructure protection. But the clock is ticking. Volt Typhoon is still out there. They're in networks you may not even know about, waiting. The question isn't if they'll act, it's when. And the only thing standing between a cyber intrusion and a real-world catastrophe is you.